Welcome to MPA Feedback Stream 45. I am the guild leader, and we have Diana with us. This is the feedback stream. Sorry, I'm used to doing the opening for our production stream. I'm forgetting how we do the feedback one. This is the 45th feedback stream, now happening the last Friday of every month. It's a music production arena community. We invite anyone that might not be a member already to join us. You'll find the links to our channels on top of the YouTube page. Go to navigate to the YouTube page. If you're watching already, please like the video stream to help out the algorithms. Hi, Chika. Hi, Ira in the chat. Fox of Galaxy. We got Young Outsider. All right.
Hello.
So again, this is a stream where we've collected, or so members of Music Production Arena have submitted tracks for us to listen to live here on stream, and to talk about them. We're going to give feedback to the immediate feedback, like first impressions, and then we're going to kind of open up and spark conversation. So you can think of it as kind of a podcast style feedback stream where we're going to talk about making music. Hey, Miro in the chat, aka Jazzerado. All right, so I'm just gonna go through some announcements, and then I'm gonna pass it over to Diana, and just let everyone know Diana is the one streaming this quality stream here. Okay. Oh, Radium not with us. Sorry. I know. You can check a message Radium and make her feel bad. No, play. Okay. Quick other announcements. It's the last day to submit your spooky track for the MPA Spooky Challenge. We have 3 submissions so far. So we're guaranteed a first, second, and third place. So submit that into the Music Production Arena Discord under the event submission channel. Just post a link to, you can submit it directly, upload it or submit it there. All right. MPA Spooky Challenge 2021. Last day. Okay, we have quick other announcement. So next week we're going into the week 5 of the ongoing MPA community collabs. For those that have been familiar with that, we've been just consistently knocking those out every day, just working on collabs. But those have been really fun. We have 36 members now, I think, on season 2, which was way more than season 1. I think season 1 we ended up with 18 producers involved. This season we've got 36, so it's really nice. And there'll probably be a few more coming in. I might not even be counting right. So that's been a lot of fun. Just let everyone know, week 5 starting next Monday, we're going to be actually finally starting to build the track. So all the loops that I've collected and named, organized, and put into folders, we're going to be going through all those loops and combining them to make ideas, basically, to start the tracks. All that stuff is, all the information for that stuff is in the Discord. It's the MPA Community Collabs Season 2. It's been a lot of fun. Okay. I'm gonna not. Okay, last announcement, and then I'll move it over to Diana. I just want to let everyone know that Producer Battle 11 is coming November 1st. I haven't worked out all the details yet. I'm still working that out, but I'm a last minute type of person. Anyway, I'm gonna get all that worked out. November 1st, there will be a post, because that's the first week, this first Monday of November. I'm gonna make a post about Producer Battle 11. So look forward to that. Oh, I know I got confused a second ago. I meant to say the first place winner of the MPA Spooky Challenge will be gifted 1 month Discord Nitro. I confused myself because I was going to say something. What was I going to say? I was going to say, back to the Spooky Challenge. If you just to motivate someone that might want to do it last minute, you got till end of today to submit a track. First place winner gifted 1 month Discord Nitro, and about that, if this does work out and I can gift it like I think I can, because it seems to be pretty easy, we'll start using Discord Nitro gifts here and there to motivate other challenges and things like that, giveaways. But I don't, like I say all the time, I ain't got no money, so that's the best I can do. It's the 1 month Discord Nitro, first place winner, Spooky Challenge. All right, that's all the announcements. Look forward to Producer Battle 11 next month. Any other announcements and information, you'll probably find it in the Discord on the announcement channel. Diana, what do we have happening today? I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, hi. Yeah, so today we have our 4 submissions. It was a struggle to get those. Well, to get 1 submission at least. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's get started with our first submission of today, which is going to be Flight of the Banko by Akyut, or I don't know. Have fun. All right. So that was Flight of the Banko by AK Akyut or Aki, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, okay. So AK left us some details about the track, which read as follows. I usually do soundtracking work for video games, taking a foray into a more electronic exploration of cinematic themes / imagery. Hope you enjoy it. All right. So, what did you think about it,
All right.
Geld? We're gonna
Okay.
do the
I'm
discussion
gonna.
thing again, like bit of feedback, and then we'll go into like an open discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we just give some initial feedback, like right away, like what we thought about the track, and then our discussion. Just let people know it's not directed always just to that one person. We try to make it more general. But this track right here, I just started. I'm gonna call him a Akyut, just because I like the way that sounds. Akyut.
Accurate.
A Flight of the Banko. I really like this track. I'll point out some things that bug me about it, but for the most part, I just want to start by saying I actually really like this track. It reminded me of a Madeon feel, but it didn't sound like a Madeon track. It just had that feel, and there's probably many other producers I just don't know of that this sounds like, but it reminded me of Madeon. Now, it also has that retro wave beat, a synth wave. It has a lot of things that are trending right now in this track for sure. Like it's it's got a good vibe, but I couldn't really pin it to any one subgenre, I guess. I was kind of just like feeling it all together. And the better way I was thinking of it is it's just I know producers hate this term when I say it all the time, but experimental, and I'm not saying this is experimental as in the genre experimental. I'm saying this is just people in the studio going with whatever sounds good. Like not trying to pigeon themselves in like it's got to be this, it's got to be this, it's got to be this. It's just like okay, this sounds cool. This sounds cool. This lead and it sounds like a jam, almost like a jam track. Like you're just really we're jamming the leads and stuff here. I also noticed that there was variety. Like it told the story. I could follow. It wasn't just this one repetitive thing that looped back to the beginning. It seemed to keep evolving and stuff over time. So I actually really enjoyed the track. I would say the one thing that bugged me, the mix wasn't perfect. Like, and I was trying to turn it up, turn it down, and account for YouTube's compression and all that stuff or whatever that might be doing. But what was bugging me most, I think, it was just the bass. And could have been a little more. I don't know, it seemed very stale in the mix, like, it was just there, and it was almost, like, not really I don't know, it was like I wish I could explain a little bit better, but I'm just picturing it in my head, but you had a bass synth in there, not the sub bass, but the bass, like, the one of the basically playing the bass the lead of the bass guitar, I mean, the role of the bass guitar, the bass instrument, and buzzing synth, and it was a nice sound, it just to me seemed like it was just sticking out of the mix, like not volume wise, but just like it wasn't filling up everything and with the rest of the mix. And bass is usually like the foundation of the whole track, as in like it seems like it's underlining everything. This bass just kind of seemed like it was poking out of the middle. I don't know. That's what I was trying to give some description there, but for the most part, I loved it. I really did like this track. It's the kind of music I listened to. I'll pass it over to Diana. What do you think?
Hmm. Okay. Not really sure where to start. First off, I did like that you went into a lot of different places with this. So you didn't just stay like with one idea, but you switched things up and worked in a bunch of different, yeah, I guess you could call them themes or motives. You didn't stay in one place. You definitely did have a sort of progression in terms of telling a story. More towards the middle to end, I feel.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's great. I think electronic music could use more of it. Now in terms of what you've written, um, exploring cinematic themes and imagery, um, I'm not really sure what you mean by that because I did not really get the sense of like a coherent story being told with this. Um, uh, I'm not really sure if I got a sense of themes being used in a way like but I don't know if you went for that in a sense of like a leitmotif. And so
Right.
I just
It was
didn't
more
really
of
get
the
the sense
groove,
of a coherent story being told, and to me that's what cinema means. That's what storytelling means. Um, yeah, just
Yeah.
didn't get the sense of that so much. I like the ideas. I like that it was, you know, different to me. Or like more different from, this sort of. I mean, we go through different periods on, about like what we listen to on these streams and what we hear on MPA and what's sort of popular on the radio and stuff. So this is more different to from that. But yeah, just a bit confused about the terms being used in your description.
In the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would also say I didn't get that either, the cinematic themes. Now, there might have been something there that started it. That's the thing about producers, like we're building on an idea that might not still be noticeable at the end of the track to others, but we built it on like an idea. And I can easily see there's some sounds in here that might have been the beginning of this track that sounded very cinematic maybe. But then once you started adding all the other groove stuff to it and like the beat, the rhythm, the feel, the lead and everything, I would honestly say it lost what I would consider to be more of a cinematic thing, which when I think of cinematic, and Diana knows way more about the technical side of this, but when I think of cinematic, I'm thinking of painting a scene or something with music not really being like the actors in the scene. You know what I mean? Like this seemed like it had a lot of actors in that scene, not just being the scene itself. Um,
You know,
but
if
and it had a groove.
anything, if I could, just butt in there, and if anything, it felt like a sequence, like an image sequence backing track. It could work for that, like totally. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what it could work for. If you have, I don't know, some modern film, I don't know. I, I mean, the thing is, I don't think this is supposed to be soundtrack. I think they're coming
No.
from soundtrack work and wanted to make an electronic track that has some of these elements in it. So it's not supposed to
Oh,
score.
okay.
It's not supposed to be a score. But it's supposed to have ideas from soundtracks or from scoring,
Right, because they said they
film
do
scoring in it.
soundtracking for video games
Yeah,
usually. I can see this now that I pay
right.
attention a
Video
little bit more
games. Oh
to
yeah,
what
I'm
they
forgetting
wrote.
about
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I can see
I'm
this. I can see
forgetting
this a
about
little bit
that.
more.
But even then, I mean, it depends on the game. Um, it depends on the game because not every game is like storytelling, like wise, super strong. Yeah.
All right. I want to address
But
the
still,
chat real
no, but
quick.
but but hold on. There's still the word cinematic, so that's about cinema. So
Well, you definitely, and Diana's so good at this, reading into exactly what people say and like really picking it apart here. First of all, we don't know what foray means. If anyone in the chat knows what foray means, taking a foray into more electronic exploration of cinematic themes and
I think
imagery.
I've heard it before.
That's a really descriptive thing, and it's got all big words in there. I like to say electronic exploration of cinematic
Yeah,
themes and imagery. Imagery. I would say that it had a there was a lot. It seemed like this was a combination of a lot of different that what could ultimately fit into different genres, all brought together into like
yeah, it would.
something.
It would.
Yeah. I want to say something to the chat real quick because there's people mentioning yes, we do it once a month right now. People would like to see it more often. I know. Uh, that's just because of busy schedules and things like that, and we can make the time for it. I would like to find ways to give more feedback through other means, if possible. So maybe we can think of another feedback event. It's a little bit different. Chika, you're on BandLab. I see you on BandLab. I've been doing feedback lately on BandLab. Check me out over there. Okay, so, and I was going to also say, let's see who else was saying. Oh, Minty Miss. I just want to let everyone know. I don't know. I forgot what Diana told me, but yes, we had more submissions than we can actually listen to today. So if someone did submit a track that doesn't get played today, we can only fit so many. That's why we wanted to turn this in more just like immediate direct feedback for everybody into something that's kind of we pick some tracks, we listen to them, and then we open discussion. So
Yeah,
I don't know who all got
we
picked.
want to bring more value. We want to give more value to everyone watching. So we're picking music that we feel we can talk about, and finding things to discuss to bring to other people. So instead of this being like we're giving you feedback, it's we're giving you feedback, but we're taking it and we're expanding it so other people can learn from it too. And that's why we're reducing this so much. That's why we want to do it less often, which means that we get more submissions so that we can choose from a greater list of different things and can decide what would be best to talk about this time, because we don't want to
Actually, yeah,
repeat ourselves so often.
right. So if
Because
your
because
track was like super amazing, we might not pick it because it might not give us anything to talk about. So that's just another thing to think about. If your track doesn't get picked, and not it doesn't have anything to do with the track itself, other than the fact that we didn't spark an idea for us to give feedback on today's stream or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know whose was picked. Look at the chat, Diana. They're all trying to. Chika, I think yours was picked. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if Diana was cleverly trying to not say it to hold y'all here, but I don't know whose was picked and whose wasn't. So let's wait around and find out.
yeah. I
Stick to
mean,
the end
yeah.
and find
I
out.
mean, even if yours didn't get picked, it's not like it doesn't mean like yours is bad or we don't like you or anything. But you can still learn from this stream because we pick things that we think. Well, in this case, I pick things that I think would help people understand new
Diana's been
things.
picking, but it's because Diana does the stream. I want to. Okay, so about that real quick, I want to jump. Okay, so I didn't mean to like totally like just
We're
detour us
totally
from the
off
thing,
topic
but I would
now.
say, I know, I would say as far as that goes, back to the Akyut track. Now that we gave Akyut some feedback about the track directly, I would just say for a really short discussion about what we're kind of talking about. And I don't have anything written down, but I would honestly say when it comes to writing music like this, um, I would pose the question to you, Diana, since you were kind of getting held up on the cinematic stuff versus what actually was done here, based on what they said in their description, like taking a foray into more electronic exploration of cinematic things. What would you say they could have done different to make you think that they did just that exploration of cinematic themes and
Yes,
imagery?
definitely the thing I said in my mini review is
Mm-hmm.
have a coherent story, tell a coherent story. That'll definitely make it cinematic because cinema is about telling a story. And if you're not telling a story, it's not really, there's no point. The word gets thrown around, but I'm not going to talk about, word stuff anymore. Um, but yeah, I like the idea. But my issue with it is mostly it's not really, at least from what I could tell. I mean, maybe you interpret it differently, but from what I've heard and how I'm thinking and what I'm seeing and what I imagine one might want to do with that description is tell a story and tell a coherent story. So you could try to work in the story structure of a movie or something like that. And actually, I mean, there's another like different idea here in terms of electronic music. But aside from that, just the idea of taking film score work or game soundtrack work and turning it into a piece of its own. So taking functional music, meaning music that goes along with something, and making it into absolute music. So music that is there for the purpose of being listened to. I think that's great, and a lot of people are doing it. A lot of composers are doing it. Take, for example, oh, okay, so all the examples just escaped my brain, as usual.
Take the
Wait,
example.
wait, okay. West Side Story. Take West Side Story. It's a musical. It's a great musical. There's the West Side Story symphonic dances. So that is music from the musical taken and sort of not sort of compiled like well-known and popular themes and everything arranged into a I believe 40-minute concert piece. Which goes through the themes and tells the story in kind of way. And I'm actually working on something similar because I worked on a movie for a Swiss director last year, I think, and I'm working on something similar, which is supposed to be a piece of music that tells the entire story on its own, just with music, just so without the imagery. And I think that's what I expect when I hear something like this. And you could take that into the electronic world as well, and I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. And I would just say about what I was talking about. When people come up with a really good track, and it is the idea there, if there's a problem with the mix, something, if someone points out something part of the mix, it's not all. That could just be, you know, I need to listen to it on multiple speakers. It might not actually be a problem. But I would honestly say that once you come up with a really great idea, which I think people should do first, like this, you could basically wrote all this down on just piano, drum beat, piano first, and then started picking the sounds later and mixing it. That comes second. And I spent way too much of my hobbyist career as spending way too much time perfecting the mix. I am pretty good at mixing now, but it took me a while to realize I had to get back to just writing the song first and coming up
Oh
with just great
yeah,
songs and
oh
just
yeah.
jamming. And that's so much more important than the final mix and stuff and trying to get real nitpicky on the mix. Yes, the best of the best electronic artists have the pristine mixes, but that's they got friends too that have money, have studios that help them with that. It's not like that's their number one skill. The skill is writing the song. So this is a really great song. Uh, I would say that to make the bass a little more full, it seemed like it was sticking out like buzzing, like a little thin mix bass in the mix, which again I could just been listening to it wrong. I would just after kind of EQing it to tuck it back in a little bit more, I would kind of maybe do like a little to thicken it up a little, maybe somehow sterilize stereoize the top layer of that and still keep the bottom layer of it mono and just make it a little wider. But anyways, that goes to everyone. I'm just talking about not directly to Akyut, but I'm just talking about after you finish a great track, then you're going down and finally get nitpicky on the mixes and there's like little things bugging you. That's another whole battle, but that comes after. All right. So hobby, says Minty Miss. Yes, my music is a hobby, purposely. Okay, so should we move on to the next track?
Yeah. So, our next submission is going to be Cut the Feeling by Lewis Hackett and Jelly Beaninator. Have fun!
Look at the soul in your eyes. Eye of the tiger is blind, blinding the whole of your mind, mighty without words to find. Some worlds unseen, thunder shredding into lightning, flux ignite to heal the concepts that are real to me. When you're feeling the waves on the sea land, supernovas and lights beating land, winds are changing the moment, revealing land, earthquake shatters the mind, cut the feeling. Rampaging monsters inside the storms I've cried to the screams of the light that reflects dynamite. Mirrors unhealed, scar injections steal the worthy, eternal fail the concepts that are real to me. When you're feeling the waves on the sea land, supernovas and lights beating land, winds are changing the moment, revealing land, earthquake shatters the mind, cut the feeling.
Okay, so that was Cut the Feeling by Lewis Hackett and or Jelly Beaninator. Okay.
Beaninator.
God.
Same person, right? Am I right by assuming that Hackley, Jelly Bean, it's not two separate people? It's just two
I
different
don't know.
names.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure because I was talking to Jelly Bean about just this topic the other day in the chat.
Okay.
They were mentioning their branding with having so many different names everywhere. But
Wait, it's just the same person just twice.
I think it's just the same person. All right.
Okay,
I'll let you read
I'm just gonna call them LJ then. Okay, well, LJ did leave us some details about this song. And they go as follows. This was one of the quickest songs I've done from start to finish. From the first key touch to exporting the wave / uploading it to YouTube. This was written in response to a time when I was discovering that many people around me had been experiencing deep anxiety and depression. So the lyrics in this song poetically reflect how having those emotions can make you feel, combined with the current virtue signaling politics of today. The chorus also features the themes of water, fire, air, and earth. No deep meaning there. I just love the 4 elements. Okay, that's great. I never showed it to the guy I wrote it for, but in reality, it wasn't actually for him, but for the people who are like him and going through it. All right, that is extremely specific. But that's great. We know so much about this now. So what did you think, Guild?
Okay, so Jelly Beanator is what I've been referring to, talking to Jelly Beanator in Discord. But if Lewis Hackett is your producer name, I'm gonna start calling you Lewis Hackett. I like to call people by their producer name, the name that they go by as an artist. That way, when I name drop people in the future, like I know this person, the
Just
people
call
know who I'm
them
talking about.
LJ. It includes both
No.
names.
But anyways, uh, so here we go. So I actually really like this song. I didn't know. I guess I haven't dug deep enough into your music because I didn't know this is what you're bringing, what style you did, and this is really nice. It's definitely. I mean, what do you call this? I don't know exactly. It was basically on some kind of hip hop trap style beat, but it was singing. But I would not, But it had a unique style of vocal, and it was definitely playing on vocal effects, which is popular in a lot of it's just styles of hip hop and emo hip hop and all that other stuff. But this isn't any of that. I would say this is definitely its own thing, which so much of this new music coming out, especially underground music, is just that. It's its own thing. It's people just not following rules. It's people just sitting down at their instruments, their DAW, and messing around. Just that sounds good. This sounds good. Okay, this sounds good. Okay, and whatever comes out comes out. You name the genre afterwards. Um, I I would say that okay, so I like the track a lot. I would say the biggest problem I was having with the mix wasn't that bad. It had a kind of a rough mix, which is again popular right now in those genres. It's hard. It bugs me because I can when I'm giving people feedback, I want to know if they were purposely going for the rough mix or if they would like a clearer mix because I could go all day and tell you how to get a clearer mix on this track. But that would almost ruin so many of these genres that are supposed to be rough and raw and kind of muffled and like sound like not the best mix that really is popular right now in a lot of these hip hop genres where the blowout style 808s and stuff like. But anyways, but here's the problem I still had with the mix was the vocals and the really strong effect they had on the vocals was too much on top of the mix. It was pushing everything else down the back. The beat just seemed low because the vocals were too loud. And I kept going, oh, the beat needs mixing. But no, it necessarily didn't necessarily need it. Just it seemed like it did because the vocals were just dominating. And it's because of the effect that was on the vocals. And I like the effects. I love vocal effects. But I would have played with it even more. I would have thickened it up in spots, and I would have done harmony. If you're gonna do vocals effect like that, doing some harmonies, left, right, different notes, built up a harmony chord or something with the vocals, like harmonize, that would have taken this to another level. So that's something I would do a lot of is just kind of build up some harmonies with your own voice if you're going to be using effects anyways, and then tuck them down to the beat. It doesn't mean lower the volume because that could mess up the mix also. It means you have to kind of like this one did seem like it'd be a volume thing. You could just lower the volume a little and then you'd have to EQ it maybe kind of other things to poke out a little more. But sometimes if the vocals are sticking up too loud, it is kind of an EQ thing. It's you need to make a dip here and a boost here and another instrument or something like that. But I would say honestly here, you could probably just lower the vocals a little. And then if it's doesn't seem to be loud enough, you would find an EQ spot in the vocals and boost that little EQ bump to bring the dominant, so it sticks through again. But I don't think you would want to do that with this. I think you just lower the vocal just a little. It sounded good. I like the track. I like the style. It was really different. And I didn't listen too much to the lyrics. That's just a habit. I never listen to lyrics. But reading what you said about it, I could tell it's actually a song with meaning. And I love songs with actual meaning. When I take the time to actually listen to lyrics, if they, if I get something from it, it's all that better. Lyrics, poetry, words, it goes hand in hand with great music, so it's just one of those things. But the overall melody and harmony of your voice, I liked a lot. Even though it's very monotone, that's why I said you should add some other things, but it gave it a vibe. It gave it a vibe since you were so monotone. Anyways, thanks for submitting. I'll pass it over to Jelly Bean. Pass Jelly Bean's track over to Diana, and then we'll talk a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah. And first of all, I think it's great that you're actually singing in this yourself. I think too few people do that when they want to have songs. They tend to use vocal packs. But we're not talking about those today because you actually were singing yourself, and that's great. And I also love that you're trying to package all these serious topics into the song. I think that's great too. But that's sort of where I'm sort of leaning into what Guild said about the processing and everything. So I too felt that the mix was a bit odd. It's actually one of the rare cases where I feel like it could use more bass. But I want to talk about vocal processing. Because I felt the energy, the power of the vocal processing didn't match the power and energy of your voice. So it had this really aggressive sound to it. I don't know if you heard that, Gil, but to me it had this really aggressive sound, just from the processing. But then with you singing in this, I don't know, low mid register kind of place, your voice, you could still hear that it didn't have so much power, like pushing it. So it to me sounded a bit weird. Now there's style to that and all that. But I think then paired with the melody you're singing, repeating so often and always staying within this sort of limited range, I feel like it didn't really move through that story you're telling. And it made it hard to understand what you were singing about. So if I hadn't read this and I tried to really listen to the vocals, I listened to this twice actually, not in full. I listened to it in full once to see how the levels would be for the stream, and then I sort of skipped through and trying to make out the lyrics and see what it's actually saying, like really actively listening. And then just now I listened to it in full again on the stream, of course, and I still could hardly make out anything. Not anything, but it was really hard to follow what it was about. So I think a major reason for that is the processing. And it's sort of clashing with the energy in your voice, because you've had to put a lot of compression on that. And I think it amplified a lot of the airiness in your sound and a lot of the quieter parts to be at a nearly equal level with the actual sound you were making, and I think it was competing with your voice was competing with itself. And I think that just made it hard to understand. Yeah, I think that's it in terms of my criticism.
Yeah, I can agree that the vocal effect, even though I don't get me wrong about the vocal effect, I love vocal effects, as I was saying. Like, I use them more than like most people do. I think I like them a lot. I'm not gonna say that. I don't sing. I'm saying if I was to process someone else's vocals, I bury them in effects, almost to the point where it doesn't even sound good anymore. Why do I do that? Anyways, I love vocal effects, so I'm not saying that was a bad choice, but I'm saying in this case, it was actually taken away from. As Diana said, it was hard to understand what you're saying. So you would have to try to find that balance of articulating and then also doing the heavy effects. And maybe it's a parallel style layering of the effects. Maybe have the dry version in there tucked away. And you can EQ that dry version out. So you can dip the EQ onto that dry version to really take away like more of the character, so it doesn't stick through too much, but it might keep enough of the sibilances of the word to make it cut through more. I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. Might work. Oh yes, in the chat.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No. I'm sorry. I was gonna ask Cheesy Baby if that's also. If I'm now even more confused, right. Is Cheesy Baby also Jelly Bean, which is also Lewis Hackett? I'm really confused now.
I think that's that. But no, but
okay. Yeah, that's a lot of names.
No,
preset is Gil.
I think what you said is interesting because you were talking about balance there, and I think I think the balance is a decision you have to make. So what I mean is the balance is between how raw do you keep the vocals versus how much processing do you put on them. And I think it's a decision to be made on where's what's important for the song? Is it important to really get the meaning and understand the lyrics, or is it important to have this effect? You can have both, and that's often, if you listen to metal, or just any song basically, you'll often have these chorus sections where you have really stylized voice, a lot of processing, a lot of instruments playing really loud, and there's a bunch of stuff going on at the same time. But then you have these parts with the storytelling basically, where everything sort of quiets down, and you have a more raw, you get a more raw listening experience of the voice. And I think that's maybe something you could have done here. Have a less stylized voice tell the story, and then in your sort of, chorus parts or whatever you want to call it, have the really stylized bit, because I think with what you wrote, it's really important to understand what you want to tell, and it's sad that it's so hard to understand. So I think this is a decision. This balance that Gil was talking about, I think it's a decision as to when and how you apply it, when you weigh which side of this more. And the important thing to understand too is that you can't just stay in the middle. It's hard to. I'm not going to say can't, but I think it's going to be hard to stay dead center in the middle, because you may actually want this separation.
Yeah, that contrast would be nice. Now, it leads me to one, and it's just now I'm kind of directing our discussion where me and Diana are now directing our discussion towards everybody.
I just like to clarify that one thing I said about staying in the middle. There's something you learn about and talk about when it comes to orchestration. I'm talking about classical music now, but bear with me. So when you notate music for musicians to play, you put in dynamic markings. So you tell musicians play louder or play quieter, stuff like that. And there's an expression for, you could translate it. You could say it's like middle loud or middle quiet. And a lot of people like to always have things sort of increase gradually, go from mezzo piano, so middle quiet, let's just call it like that, to middle loud, and it doesn't really have any effect. And so the idea is that it's better to decide this or that instead of let's stay in the middle, because the things that stay in the middle, they go into the background. You stop noticing them. I mean, you don't stop noticing them, but they're sort of the accompaniment. But you'll notice the really quiet part, and you'll notice the really loud part. So instead of always staying in this middle, in this mezzo forte mishmash of all kinds of different sounds, you put the important stuff loud or quiet, and you balance it out like that. Because if you always stay in this middle part, you just sort of forget about it. You
kind of go into the background.
It drowns out. It just goes in the background.
Yeah, that was the problem with my mixes for the longest time, was everything was just so balanced that nothing was ever poking itself out. And it's really important that you direct. I'm not going to say it's really important, but I'm saying a really good technique is that you direct the listener into what you want them to listen to. And when you kind of realize that you do have that control by raising the volume of something for a short period of time and then lowering it with automation, you have that control. It feels really good, because I actually don't like the feeling of not knowing. Sometimes you play a track for someone and you're like, I wonder if they even paid attention to the thing that I paid attention to in the track. They might be listening to something totally different, but you can actually kind of direct the listener into listen to what you want to hear by, when a lead comes in, other things get out of its way for a second. The lead pops in and says, "Hey, I'm now the focus," and you listen to the lead. If like Diana was saying, if something all of a sudden is really quiet, it gets your attention. You're like, okay, whoa, this thing over here is real quiet. It has your attention now. And then if something else pops up really loud, that grabs your attention. If everything is just straight balanced the entire time, straight through the whole mix, and all instruments always hit the same velocity all the way through the whole mix, it does kind of ends up becoming just this. Everything, whatever you would like people to focus on, might not be getting their focus. And we were, and Diana started by talking about, and we kind of used the analogy of like volume and stuff, but we were really talking about the balance between two things, making the choice. Do I want clarity? Do I want
It's really about
effects?
intensity. It's
You
about
just gotta,
intensity.
it's about the intensity of whatever choice you make and making it a bold statement. It's the whole thing when it comes about confidence. Even not even just vocals, any style of music, when you're making music, it's always about confidence. You don't want to be making a little sound and you're like, oh, I'll put this little sound in here. I'm scared to make it too loud. People might not like it. You have to be bold with your decisions. You have to be upfront with your decisions. You have to say, hey, listen to this great sound I made. It's awesome. You have to listen to my vocal. And that leads me to one last thing about vocal effects and processing. If you're doing it I'm not talking to you, Cheesy Baby, Lewis, Hackett, Jelly Bean necessarily, but if anyone's doing it to cover up the fact that they can't sing as good as they would like, as well as they would like, you don't want to lean on vocal effects to cover that stuff up. You want to do what we tell all the vocalists all the time, is to take more takes, get better at singing, more takes, and really get good at singing. And don't cover it up. Yeah, practice, and don't kind of cover it with effects. Now, if you want the effects, because again, that is a whole genres are built around vocal effects. There's genre, you got to have them. That's a different story. So it's another one of the things about decision. But if it's coming down to the fact, you got to be honest with yourself. Like, am I just covering up the fact that my raw vocals, like when people used to drown their vocals in reverb because they didn't like the way it sounded? You gotta perfect the vocals. That's why vocals is so hard. And I cannot sing, so.
And
Anyways.
also ask yourself the question, what is the focus? What is important? Is it important to understand what I'm saying, or is it important to have the effect? What do you want? Do you want the effect, or do you want people to understand?
Very nice.
Okay. I think we're moving on to the next submission.
Yeah, totally. And thanks for submitting, everybody that's submitted so far.
All right, our next submission is going to be Softly as in the Morning Sunrise by Jazzerado. Have fun. Okay, that was a very abrupt ending to Softly as in the Morning Sunrise by Jazzerado. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that's how I got the file. Anyway, Jazzerado did leave some details for this submission. And they are right here. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Since my new study started and I decided to quit the Amino app for a few weeks ago, I am not an MPA very often, but it feels great to be a part of the stream tonight. I would love to know about everything that you hear and feel when listening to this recording. Do you like the lines I play? Is my playing fluent? What can I improve at? I still struggle with my intonation. Do you maybe have any tips for me? I apologize for the bad audio quality. I only have my phone to record my playing. Have a good time and stay healthy. Okay, what did you think, Guild?
Jazzerado. So that's why I haven't been able to find you. No, I'm joking. I see Jazzerado posting stuff on Instagram, and it's refreshing to see you out in the world and not cooped up inside of in the hole like the rest of us. No, I'm saying I don't know what everyone's doing, but I do like. That's another reason why I like to see. I'm not a big social media type of person, but if I got friends and community, I like to follow their Instagram too. Because when I see Jazzerado out playing his saxophone on the beach and stuff, I'm like, it's refreshing. It's nice. Um, Okay, so you mentioned that sorry about the bad quality. Let me tell you something. The quality of this recording is one thing that I liked a lot about it. Let me tell you why. One thing I would add to this because of the quality is I would add some fake crackly noises, like a vinyl static dust. I would add that into this and keep that recording and make this sound even more old school because this sounded like it was pulled out of the back in time. Like you could have told me this was back in time, I would have believed it. I was like, okay, this is an old recording. It sounds nice. And me, the nostalgic thing, when I think of jazz and think of a lot of subgenres of jazz and uh, original jazz stuff, it's a nostalgic genre to me. Even though there's very modern jazz and there's tons of jazz of everything, influences everything, and it can be real clean. But I like, just like I like my blues, I like my jazz to be nostalgic and old. And it adds such a vibe to it. And you got these electronic producers spending hours in the studio trying to perfect these sounds of nostalgia and lo-fi and all this stuff for a reason, because they're trying to give their songs more life, so it doesn't sound like beep bop a computer, you know. So bring it over to your track here. So your recording actually gave this track a lot of what you would consider like a sound palette, like an atmosphere, it just gave it its character. You're playing, you play well. I'm not listening close enough, honestly, because I'm not to really nitpick like what you're doing as far as your what you call it, your intonations. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. But I would say that it didn't seem like there was no parts that breathe. Like I would like to hear it stop and pause a little bit here. But if you're doing someone else's song, or I don't know what this was, to say standard or anything like that, I don't know how that goes. I don't know all the rules, but just listening to this, I enjoyed it. Sorry, Diana, what were you saying? Diana, were you saying something about the intonations as I was?
Yeah, I was just saying the intonation is if you're in tune with in the instrument, so to say.
Okay.
So if
the notes relative to themselves.
Yes. Yeah, exactly that. The relative pitch within the instrument, being in tune. So, yeah.
Interesting.
A C being a C, basically.
Well, you were saying I still struggle with my intonation. This playing a real instrument like that, all instruments are real. I know, everybody, all instruments are real, but playing a wind instrument like that, it's another whole battle. You got tuning, you gotta it's a reed instrument, so you gotta mouth it just right. Everything you gotta tap it with your tongue and stuff.
Struggles with.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it. Miro, Jazzerado. I understand you not coming to Amino anymore. I don't blame you. It has shifted in its activity and everything. I would like to hope to still see you around the Discord, and you can always message me anytime. If nothing else, keep in contact with me. I got your beats. I got some beats from you that I'm going to use it for season two collabs. I'll keep you posted about that. But anyways, Diana, what did you think about this track?
Right. Yeah. So what I want to talk about is, okay, first of all, your intonation is getting so much better. I think it's time for you to, no, actually, maybe you don't have to, but maybe listen to one of your earlier submissions. You've improved a lot, and this is like a worse recording. Sorry, Gil. Did not like the recording quality. I wanted to hear more detail. Anyway, no, I think the major improvement you've made is the confidence. I think you're starting to sound really confident now. with your lines and also with the instrument. I think you're just getting a lot more secure with it. I really like the ideas you're having for your lines. I think they're starting to get really, really like coherent, and building a story. I think you're really getting somewhere. I think, yeah, I can't talk too much about the tone because it's hard to tell with the sound quality. That's why I prefer.
the
That's why I
reverb
would
and the weirdness.
prefer like a better recording. But I'm gonna come visit you at some point and listen to you play for real, because when I was listening to you when you were picking out mouthpieces at Toman, it was actually insane hearing you outside of a recording. It is so much better in real life, so I can't even imagine what it's like now. So I'm just really blown away by the speed at which you're improving. In any aspect. I mean, sure, the intonation thing is sort of lacking, not lacking behind, but it's just a really hard thing. That's especially on the saxophone. That's one of the really hard things to master. Especially in those like, well, actually, I'm not a saxophone expert, but I'm guessing it's really difficult in the higher register, but it might actually be. Might actually not be. I don't know.
Thank you. 3 hours
Should
to get to
be.
Miro. Miro says hop in your car after the stream. What time would that be? It's pretty late over there, right?
It would be. It would be. Wait, I think it would be like 2 a.m. Not gonna happen.
Miro likes to stay up late and go get ice cream in the middle of the night.
He actually does. I think.
I know.
But yeah, no, yeah, just the confidence. The confidence with your solos. Yeah, just great improvement again. I mean, we sort of have to approach this from a different side now, because mostly on the streams we're giving tips to music producers. In this case, we're giving tips to a musician. And one of the questions was improving intonation. And I think one way to approach it, I mean, aside from talking to your teacher, I think the main thing, or like one of the things that I think could maybe help, is trying to hold the note at the right pitch for as long as you can. Just hold it, get a feel for it, develop the mouth feel, stop again, play it again, check it back, compare it, hold it again for a long while. Just develop, just make your body train
Like the muscle memory.
in what position to get for each pitch, basically. Because it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard. That's why it takes so long. It's muscle memory. And I think a good way to train it is to hold out on the tone, hold out on the pitch, and get your body to register that in a way and lock onto it when you jump to it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to improve that.
I'd
But I think
imagine
that's something you're doing. I think that's something your teacher would tell you. They probably have way better tips for that anyway.
Exercises even that you could do to other exercises you get from your teacher. But I would imagine like for other wind players like trumpets and those kind of mouthpieces would be even more that, like, because you change pitch just by changing the pressure your lips. Unlike saxophone where you move your fingers, and then there's
There's
yeah.
no.
Well, trumpet, you got 3 valves or 4 valves, and then everything else is done with the way you do your lips, like really tight or loose, and then you go to up and down octaves, and then you're moving the things. But yes, you got different combinations. Yes, I don't know exactly, but I would say with exactly what Diana's saying, even on any wind instrument,
with
the
brass
mouth
instruments,
is
what you're doing is accessing the harmonic series of the instrument, basically. So you're accessing the overtones, and basically what you're doing is you're changing the length of the pipe of the instrument with those valves. And then what you're doing is basically, yes, with air pressure, with everything, your tongue, your lips, air pressure, everything, you're adjusting
This is gonna make it
to
sound better or worse.
which point in this overtone scale basically you jump, and you help. You wouldn't need those valves, and you didn't used to have those valves. So
Right.
back in the day, you had, if you were a horn player, you didn't just have your instrument, but you had multiple instruments to play in a variety of tunings, because you had your horn in F, horn in B, and whatever, because you needed to access
Interesting. Yeah, like different lengths and stuff.
different parts in the harmonic series, so you couldn't just play chromatically. I mean, the higher up you get, the narrower the gaps get, but that's why you just couldn't just play anything, and that's where the invention of the valve comes in, because the valve is like you're building another instrument into the existing instrument. That's all you're doing basically in a way. You're changing the length of the instrument, and therein you can access different differently
saying to help-
tuned overtone series, basically thingy series, harmonic series.
Yeah, and you're totally right about the muscle memory just being, if you're gonna be quicker at jumping around notes and getting your intonation just right when you're jumping around fast.
Oh, and
you're
you need it for that
you're gonna
too.
do it naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you need it for any wind instrument. You need it
sure.
for playing violin too. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of instruments.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I used to play clarinet. I had a squeaky clarinet, so I never liked playing it. And it was just a hand me down and leaked, and it's like squeak, squeak. I didn't like to read instruments either, putting the pressure on my. I don't know. I just didn't like playing it. But I had a violin for a short time. I turned it back as an electric Fender violin. I had a trumpet, took it home for summer school, didn't play it. My main instruments was guitar and piano, but I've given a lot of other ones a try. I get it. I picked up a friend's clarinet once with their permission, and they let me play it. And I'm still running scales all up and down, and I was like, okay, cool. But I would be nowhere as good as you sound. You're coming, like Diana's saying, you're coming along. So not every one, you're getting more human, more natural, more like confidence. The recording on this one didn't do it justice, but you can tell that you're improving.
Definitely didn't.
If you want to keep this recording, like I said, you can go disguise that bad recording with some fake crackling noises and stuff.
Make it sound worse and call it intentional.
Make it sound worse. Yep. Make it sound worse and release it. All right.
Okay. Oh, dear. Okay. I think it's time for our last submission of today, which is going to be Beverly Boy by Chika Pryor. Have fun.
And
Five o'clock in the morning and all I can think about is you. You blow my mind, take my breath away, boy. Tell me, are your dream all true? I just don't know what to do. Can't live without you. Beverly boy, wanna know your kind of love, 'cause you're just what I need and you're just what I like. Beverly boy, can you make me feel alive? Come on, take a chance, then baby we can vibe. Beverly boy, know your kind of love. You're just what I like. Beverly boy, make me feel alive. And maybe we can vibe. Yeah, I finally found the love of my life, but I wish that you could find me too. Whatever they say for me, know what I feel is true. Ain't nobody like you. Beverly boy, Beverly boy, Beverly boy, wanna know your kind of love, 'cause you're just what I need and you're just what I like. Beverly boy, can you make me feel alive? Come on, take a chance, then baby we can vibe. Beverly boy. like Beverly boy, make me feel alive, and maybe we can vibe. Beverly boy, wanna know your kind of love, 'cause you're just what I need, and you're just what I like. Beverly boy, can you make me feel alive? Come on, take a chance, then baby we can vibe. Beverly boy, know your kind of love, you're just what I like. Beverly boy, make me feel alive, and maybe we can vibe.
All right, so that was Beverly Boy by Chika Pryor. Right, and here are the details for Beverly Boy by Chika Pryor. This is about my boyfriend. Congratulations. I just want feedback on the mix and how to make it better and any other feedback so I'll know what to do. It's called Beverly Boy because he's basically everything I ever want, like Cali Boys Hollywood that you would only get in the movies. This is Beverly Boy. Okay. Name dropping the track title 3 times? Okay. So what do you think, Gild?
Okay, so now forgive me because I know someone has already said this to me because now Diana's already said this is not Chika singing, right? Am I correct that this is not Chika singing? This is someone
Yes,
else? You
confirmed
didn't put it
by
in the notes.
Chika.
All right.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
By Chika.
Anyways, I'll start by saying I've said this before, but I'm just gonna reiterate. I still think Chika Pryor is, if not the best, one of the best songwriters in the community. And I say that. I really mean that. She's always seems to get every little part that you need in a song is there. I'm like, how do you come up with this stuff so quick? Like all the details of a pop song are there. The catchiness, the different parts, the serious, like the soft voice, the loud voice, the emotions. It's all there. Now the execution of it is not always there. You lack in execution. You have in the past have always lacked in like producing these different skills and then singing your own voice. You're getting better over time, but it's a little weak for you now. So you got a lot of work. I'm not saying you're like the best producer in the community. I'm saying you're in my opinion, your songwriting is one of the best, if not the best in the community. Like you can write a song and you can write them quick. I was listening to I wish I was better at remembering names. Anyways, I was listening to a podcast yesterday with the songwriter that wrote all the songs for like Pink and a bunch of other people, and just listening to her story, and she was so confident. She's saying on the podcast that she does not write a bad song. Like she goes, I can't write a bad song. She's like, I can write you give me 20 minutes, I'll write you 5 songs right now, and they'll all be good. That's the kind of confidence the songwriter had. I can't remember her name, but let's not worry about that. Anyways, that's the kind of songwriter I'm talking about, Chika. You have this ability to write a song. Now you're working with other artists, you're working with different singers, you're working with, so it's hard for me to pinpoint this song sounds really good. I'm going to say this song sounded good to me. The vocals sounded really good. I like the singing. I like this song a lot. But then I go, okay, this ain't Chika singing though. I wish Chika could sing like this. I like your voice too, but I'm just saying, I wish you were getting to this level of singing on your own too, because then that would show real improvement on your vocal side of things. But just talking about your production skills, your songwritings, yes, this song shows how good of a songwriter you are. This singer's really good. Let the singer know. You didn't give her no credit in your you didn't give her no credit here in the
Yeah, that's
description.
strange.
Let the singer know that they're really good. He wrote a really good song here. I would say maybe I should have listened a little closer for some negative things to say. I was jamming. I was feeling it. I really liked it. I was really listening to the vocals. I usually don't do that. I was listening to the vocals this time. They were really nice. But I think the whole tracks had a really good professional sound. You wanted to know about the mixing. I should have listened a little closer to the mix. I guess I didn't notice anything. Nothing stood out that was really too bad on the mix. Although the vocals got my attention on this. They really did. What do you think, Diana?
Yeah. So, where do I start?
Chika says she doesn't want to be named. Her singer does. The singer doesn't want to be named.
Chika's allowed to be named. Yes. That would have been bad. No. Yes. So I agree. I think it's a bit sad that we didn't get to hear you sing, and hear your improvements, but I believe I remember you telling us that you're, really looking more the career of like a producer or like songwriter,
Mhm.
which I think you definitely have the potential for, because this did absolutely sound like any other like pop song out there.
Mhm.
I okay, coming from me that sounds super negative, but I meant it in every
I
positive
actually
way
understood what you
possible.
meant too. You didn't mean it negatively. I get what you said.
Yeah, I
It's
could
funny.
I could absolutely see this being played on any radio anywhere. It would totally work. Like totally and completely. Um with a bit more production value put into it
Polish.
maybe,
Yeah.
but like song wise, it would totally work. Totally. Um in terms of mixing, I felt that it did sometimes actually feel a bit thin. So at some points the vocals were very present. And I think you could have sometimes put them back a little bit. So I think that's sort of, the contrast and opposite to what we talked about with the
You
second
jelly beanators.
submission. Yeah, the second submission, which is too much statization versus too little. Which I'm not saying it's too little. I think it's great that the vocals are so clear in this, but I think they're in these chorus parts and this like a Beverly boy part that gets repeated. I think this is where you could, bring up the music, not drown the vocals, but bring it a bit more together, I think that would totally work. Um,
Yeah.
and just in general, this is actually something where you could, do a couple of things, in terms of like a lead, synth, melody, whatever. You could, I, I, I think you could experiment with different types of instruments. Right now, it's all electronic, I think, with some sampled stuff. But I think you could try experimenting with different instruments there,
Yeah.
like a
Chika,
bass, a guitar, something like that.
yeah, I wondered, Chika, do you play piano or anything? That'd be a great instrument to pick up, I think, for songwriting, if you don't already play. Uh, Go ahead, Diane. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. Um, I mean that's basically it. Yeah, in terms of feedback, I think yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I would agree. I would agree exactly what you're saying. Like it goes like what you said. Like it's maybe need a little more polish, a little more production before you could release it. But you could release this. Like you give this. This is at the level that yeah, the major labels they would not think twice about the fact that they know they could make it sound a little better for the radio before they released it. Like they know all the content is here. This is that example that I try to tell people all the time. Like if you are pitching it to labels, you got to remember that most labels they got in-house people that will polish it off for you. They're interested in the actual song idea, and they might take some of the raw files that you recorded if they're good enough or whatever. But when you're trying to be a songwriter, you're just trying to get the song idea across in the best way possible. So, yeah, I would say that the mix could be better. Definitely, if it's going to be actually be on the radio, and it probably would easily be done by the people that you're working with or someone that you get in touch with. That's the those are some of the that's like the allure and the allure of the being with money and in the studios. You
Don't.
got all these people around you that might like help you out in the little things. Like you're like, oh yeah, I mixed that track for you, like a Grammy award winning track last night. You're like, oh wow, there's something like that. But you don't have, Anyways, I'm just getting off on a side tangent. But I would
Yeah,
just
I
honestly
just
say that.
wouldn't
Yeah, go ahead.
rely too much on it because you
Right. No.
still have to get there somehow, and it's good
Yeah,
to
and
learn a lot of skills and
right. That's
perfect
what I
all
would
these
say.
different qualities, and
I'm
the
not
more you
doing
can
this so
do, the
someone else can
better.
do it. I'm learning. So yeah, I mean, for when it comes down to it, if you're passionate about it, sometimes you don't want anyone else touching your work. You want to do it all yourself, and that's another whole thing that could be said. Like, I don't do this just for the end result. I do this so I can be in the studio making music. So, I would rather learn how to make it perfect myself than to rely on someone else to do that for sure. The fun part to me is to learn how to do it myself. So I was just saying, like, this song is at a point that it could basically hand it over to someone if that was the thing, and they wouldn't need to do much to it. I mean, I had to listen again to double check myself there, but I'm pretty sure, as Diana was saying, it's basically be played on any radio, maybe with a little polish, but any pop radio station. Vocalist doesn't want to be named.
It could work.
Chika Pryor on the beat. Chika on the beat. Okay. So Radium would have been. Radium's not here. Radium got back from an appointment. Not feeling like doing the stream right now. But I would say that they would have had a lot of feedback for you, I'm sure, Chika. So if you haven't already, send the track to Radium and say, "Listen
honest.
now."
Gotta be honest. I was kind of hoping for Radium to join at some point, because she would have had a lot to say to this, and I did not prepare enough to say something instead. So
Chika's gonna experiment with the ukulele. That's an amazing instrument. I used to sell those like hotcakes when I worked at a guitar store, because like it started trending. Like every young
guild ukulele salesman leader.
That's just like, I was like, we got a good selection of ukuleles. Anyways, that's what I was thinking when you click. Like they never sold them. Like all of a sudden, I don't know who it was. Someone on YouTube did videos, and then every young little girl came in and bought.
Guild, you need to be honest. Honesty is important. You accidentally ordered 200,000 ukuleles, and they made you sell them to random customers who wanted guitars, and you told them, "Oh, but this is little guitars,
these
much better.
These are gonna be popular. Trust me."
Yeah.
No, I ended up with one, yes, but it was a cheap one. Minty Miss wants one too. Minty Miss, you as an electronic producer, you can a ukulele is almost perfect. You know how like I love those producers that will pick up an egg shaker and shake it into the mic and loop it, and then pick up like a little ukulele and strum a couple chords and then loop that. That's. I mean,
wow, totally crazy new sound.
Totally crazy stuff. No, looping.
No,
I actually follow quite a few YouTubers that jam like that. Loop pedals. I love loop pedals. Okay, what are we talking about now? Chika, you did a great job. Thanks for submitting this. I think that was the last one.
Yes.
Right. So, again, for anyone that didn't get picked, it's because we're purposely trying to make these streams, keep them in a certain amount of time, and main reason is like picture of us getting like 12 submissions. We're not going to be able to do everybody's. That's the main reason. We have to pick. So sorry we didn't pick everybody's, but thanks for those that still stuck around. Minty Miss talking to you. Thanks for sticking around and listening, even though we didn't listen to your track. If you want to send it to me, I'll definitely listen to it. I do want to hear it. So please send it to me. And just real quick, a reminder, Spooky Challenge, you can submit by the end of the day. I'll be collecting all the submissions for the Spooky Challenge by the end of the day, and we're going to be picking a winner over the weekend. Producer Battle 11 will be starting next month. If you want to submit to that, you can just basically prepare 3 tracks. They can be old tracks. And I prefer SoundCloud, YouTube. This point of this competition is so you can actually promote your SoundCloud and YouTube. So take the advantage. Spotify doesn't work as good because the judges aren't able always to listen to Spotify links, depending on what they're listening on. And Akeleg is one of the judges, and Spotify doesn't work good for them. Send me SoundCloud, YouTube links for most of the submissions. Anyways, more details about that coming November 11th. Producer Battle 11. There's going to be, much like last time, how we did Choose Your Suits. I'm going to do some categories this time, but it's going to be different. It's going to be a little better, I think, hopefully. But look for the details of that November 11th. You can find us here again. Diana's doing live streams for now. We're doing last Friday of every month.
Yes. And about the feedback stream submissions again, because people keep asking about them. Submissions are now open all the time. You can submit at any point in time. They are, you just visit our website, musicproductionarena.com/feedback. Link is in the description and on screen and everywhere you go. You'll be followed by this link into your nightmares. But there's a submission form where you can submit your music. Anytime within the entire month leading up to the day of the stream, which is every last Friday of the month. There's also a schedule on there and a countdown, so you'll never be confused by time zones, probably.
That used to be the problem. We'd get confused by time zones. Now, I would say, yes, it does seem like a long time to wait for feedback. I want y'all to understand that there's other ways to get feedback in the community. I know we have to encourage people to give feedback, but I recommend giving feedback. Drop a track in the feedback tracks, but then give someone feedback first. If you want feedback, and I know some people are really good at this because they do it all the time, but feedback for feedback is the way to do it. Give feedback to get feedback. If you really want, and I know, we got to all work together to make the community more active. But if just as if we want people to give us feedback, we need to also take the time to go into the communities and go into the chat rooms, listen to other people's tracks, and give them some feedback, and do that just regularly. And then when you finally post a track, those people will remember. They really do, and they'll give you feedback too. That's what we got. That's kind of, we got to just cultivate that style and design. Then we'll get more feedback. I would honestly say maybe we can come up with a thing where we round up all the feedbacks each month, all the tracks at the end of the month that did not get played and picked. Maybe we can put those into some other form, post, get them things, and just to promote them. I don't know. But I would honestly say, if you're looking for more feedback, pay attention to the things I do daily. I'm doing streams. If you haven't noticed, I'm doing streams daily now, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back next Monday. Those aren't feedback streams, no, but if you tune into what's happening there, there's lots of opportunities to get feedback on little samples and demos you're working on. If you're able to stream into our Discord, I listen to people streaming in our Discord. It's a real fun stream is what I'm saying. Stop by our music production
Don't forget to
daily
join
stream.
our Discord server. Link for
yeah,
that is
join
on
our
our
Discord
website
server
as
for sure.
well and on YouTube. You'll find it in the header.
And that's where you'll be able to keep up with us the best and keep up with me. And I answer my Discord messages before anything else. Email's the last thing for those that email me and then wait and wonder why I never get back to them. So no, for real, I've had that happen. I check my email and it's like people, there's people in there just like getting on. They're like, well, second message I sent you, but you're not responding. I'm like, did you not have Discord or anything else? Anyways, that's fine. I'm just gonna say one last thing. If you want more feedback from me on chat, if you pay attention to what I'm doing, you'll notice that I'm actually doing quite a few streams. Band Lab's a thing now. I'm over there playing around. I'm just having fun. You should see what I'm doing because Band Lab actually has a live streaming situation going on over there. And I've gone live a few times there and just listened to Band Lab tracks. And Chika, I know you on Band Lab over there. Anyone else that's on Band Lab, go post some stuff on Band Lab. There's a music production arena page for Band Lab. Just type in music production arena. Band Lab / music production arena. Follow that. Catch the live streams there. That's more opportunities for feedbacks. So you don't. And this stream here is special. This is our podcast discussion, hangout with the leaders, the curators in the chat and stuff stream we do once a month. But these other things, there's other opportunities. And I recommend other people streaming themselves too. It's a streaming time. Let's wrap this up. We'll be back. Let's wrap this up. Monday.
It's not getting any better now.
I know. Monday. I'll be back Monday, 6 p.m. Unfortunately, Diana's usually sleeping at that point. But you can catch me streaming. We'll be working on week 5, season 2, community collabs. It's going to be a really fun week. Hope to see you all there. It's not too late to join the collabs. All that information is on the Discord. Thanks, Diana, for streaming this. And Radium's not here, so I'm not going to say thank you to Radium. Thanks, everyone in the chat, for watching and submitting and hanging out and giving feedback. I'll see y'all later. You can message me on Discord anytime to continue conversation. Bye for now.
Bye.